Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Odyssey Recaps, just the tea edition. Today we are recapping Book 12, titled by Emily Wilson as Difficult Choices. We last left off with Odysseus telling the Phaeacians what happened to his fleet. He had recounted how he and his men had sailed to the land of the dead, mixed up some very Bloody Marys, and had a cocktail hour with the deceased, including a prophet who told Odysseus that his cruise from hell wasn't over just yet. This chapter picks up right where Odysseus left off. So Odysseus and his men sail back out of the land of the dead and they head back to Circe's island. This time, not for a year of sex and grapes, but to finally bury their dead crewmate who they just kind of left on the floor. So they do his funeral the way his spirit asked them to, and then Circe comes down with food and wine for a feast and is all like, OMG, I can't believe you guys survived. You've been to the land of the dead. Isn't that crazy? When you die for real, you'll be the twice dead. Isn't that fun? And it's like, girl, you're the one who sent them there. Why are you so surprised that they made it there and back? Like, okay. Also, maybe don't bring up death when they were just there and it wasn't super fun. Maybe just let them get drunk and do a beachside barbecue in honor of their dead pal. So they all party down into the night and then everyone goes to sleep in my head in like a whole doggy pile of like drunken sailors. And when they're all asleep, Circe grabs Odysseus and is like, come with me. I have to tell you something. And she takes him far away from his men and is like, okay, let's strategize about your trip home. And I'm like, why are the buildup? You couldn't strategize in front of the men while everyone was sober? I mean, surely this is info everyone should have. But like, you do you, girl. So she gives Odysseus a rundown of the dangers he's headed towards. First, there's sirens, who aren't sexy half-naked women draped over rocks, but instead live in a meadow and lie on top of great heaps of men, flesh rotting from their bones, their skin all shriveled up, which seems like a hygiene issue and not the decor I'd pick, but who am I to judge? My house is covered in Star Trek posters. That's just me. So Circe tells Odysseus that if he doesn't want to add to their dead boy decor, they all need to fill their ears with wax so they can't hear their songs, because any man who hears the siren song will become entranced and forget everything else and not be able to resist going to the sirens. But Circe clearly knows Odysseus because she's like, you want to listen to it, don't you? Fine, have your men tie you to the mast and listen. And if you have to do it, you weirdo, just make sure they tie you super tightly so you don't become man meat. After the sirens, Circe says that he's going to have two options. He can go to the Wandering Rocks or Scylla and Charybdis. Circe is like, I am not going to tell you which to pick. You have to make that choice alone. Listen to your heart and choose. But you have to choose Scylla. Anything else is dumb and stupid. She says that the only ship has made it past the Wandering Rocks, which are filled with like literal firestorms, like fire tornadoes, is Jason and the Argonauts, who of course was helped by the trad wife goddess in chief, Hera. Now, I personally despise Jason. He can go die in a hole. I won't get into it here, but like he is the biggest douche ever, and it makes total sense that Hera, of course, would help him. Whatever. Anyway, they can't go that way. So they have to pass between this really narrow rock that goes between two monsters, Scylla or Charybdis. And they have to choose which one they want to sail in reach of. But again, it's not really a choice because Charybdis is an unsurvivable whirlpool where they'll all die. And Scylla is only a nightmare creature of horrors who will take the men 6 at a time. And they could possibly get out of it only losing the 6 men, which Circe super helpfully points out is better than like all of them dying. 6 is less than all. So Scylla lives in a cave super high up a giant mountain that towers into the sky. Her cave is so high up that it's out of any arrow shot, so they can't just like pew pew her from below. She also has the voice of a puppy dog, which is super creepy, and also doesn't match the rest of her, which is a giant freakish monster that even gods are afraid of. She's got 12 dangling legs and 6 long necks, and each one has a head with 3 rows of teeth and a giant belly that lies on the floor of her cave. She keeps her head out of the cave mouth and watches below, darting down to grab dolphins, seals, and whales, or the sexy crew of a ship. She's basically out here just like bobbing for hot sailors. So Odysseus is like, well, none of this sounds good. Is there like another option? Another way we can go? Or can we like fight Scylla or protect ourselves in some way? And Circe's like, are you dumb? No, this is it, man. Take it or leave it. And by leave it, I mean live here with me on Sex Island, Paradise Edition, forever. And Odysseus is like, ugh, no, sorry. I have to get home to my smoke show wife and my sad son and apparently super sad dad. And also, I think my men want to go home. So, like, there's that. And Circe's like, fine, but there's one more hurdle. After you get past Scylla, you have to resist a beachside barbecue. Now, guys, we have seen how much these boys froth a beachside barbecue. This may be the hardest temptation of all. Cersei tells them that they're going to come to an island where Helios the sun god keeps his cattle and sheep, and that they absolutely cannot, under any circumstances whatsoever, slaughter and eat them or hurt them in any way. No touchy. The cattle and the sheepies, stop, hands off limits. Odysseus is like, lol, sure. And Cersei's like, no, for real. If you guys touch them, it will be doomed for everyone but you. And your life will suck. And it will be all your fault. Don't do it. So Odysseus is like, all right, fine. And heads back to his ship. And he and the men load up and ship out. And once they're on the sea, he's like, guys, I'm going to tell you everything Cersei told me. I'm not going to lie or hide info from you. I am an open book. This is a ship of truth. Here's what she said about the sirens. She said, you losers can't listen, but I have to. So tie me to the mast and don't let me loose until we're past the siren danger zone. All right, get the shibari ropes out and get to tying. So Odysseus fills the ears of all his men with wax, and then they tie Odysseus to the mast and they head toward Siren Island. The siren sense them coming, and they're like, OMG, Odysseus, come here. We know everything that happens on Earth. We can tell you literally anything you want to know. We can tell you every perspective of the war, or what your friends really think about you, or if Achilles thought you were hot. Come on, the water's fine. Just dive on in. And Odysseus so wants this info. He desperately wants it. And he tries to get loose, but thankfully the men have been practicing Shibaru for a while now, and they have tied those knots real good, and Odysseus just can't get loose. Once they're past the reach of the siren song, they let Odysseus go, and he's like, oh, fine, I guess I don't need to hear how many people think I'm hot. Whatever. Let's go to the next monster. So they sail on. And then when they get there, he's like, okay, guys, I'm going to tell you what Cersei said about the next monster. She just said to go real fast and don't go near the whirlpool. That's it. That's all she said. He decided not to tell them about the freaky puppy voice spider demon face monster that is about to eat 6 men at random because he thinks it'll be like bad for morale and that it'll maybe make them row slower or they'll like just freak out and hide and maybe they'll lose more people that way. And I mean, I personally think that a surprise freaky puppy voice spider demon face monster would be more of a shock and risk a general freak out more than like a known entity. But this is why I don't lead groups of men towards mythical sea monsters. It's not for me. Anyway, Odysseus decides that he's gonna gear up and try to fight Scylla despite what Cersei told him. He is gonna save his men. But he gets distracted by the freaky whirlpool monster Charybdis, and then Scylla comes down and just like yoinks 6 of his men, and they have to watch them get like torn apart while screaming above them. And Odysseus says he could hear them screaming his name the whole time they were being torn apart, and he said it is the worst thing he saw at sea, which, I mean, he did see several men get eaten by like a cyclops, and then an entire rest of his feet like shish kebabbed and eaten by giants. So this must have been real gross to top the list. Real disturbing. Anyway, he and the remaining men sail on until they reach the Sun God's Island Ranch. And as soon as Odysseus hears the sheep and cattle, he is like, absolutely not, and tells the crew to sail on. But the same guy who told him he's a bad leader at Cersei's Island once again calls him out and is like, bro, we need to sleep and eat. And also, we can't sail at night. It's sort of the Bronze Age. We don't have radar or sonar or anything. We have to stop, bro. Then Odysseus is like, oh, fine, but I need all of you to pinky promise that you won't kill any sheepies or cows if we find any. Both the dead prophet and Cersei said we'd be in real danger if we touch them. So no touchy. For real this time, guys. The men all pinky promise and cross their hearts, and so they land and they make camp. And they get out the food that Cersei sent them off with, and they're just like eating and mourning their friends who were eaten by Scylla. And they decompress just a little bit from their various monster encounters and all the rowing before going to sleep. But the next morning, they wake up to an insane fog where they can't see a thing and also hurricane-level winds. So they can't do like an Enya and just sail away. They pull their ship into a cave and Odysseus gathers them all into a circle of truth and is like, guys, I was so serious about the no touchy rule. We cannot eat the cows or sheepies. We cannot do it. Eat your barley. Don't even think about steak. The men are like, oh, yeah, we pinky promised, and it's all good. But then the storm lasts for a month, and they all run out of food. They try to fish and to catch birds, but they're not really having much luck, and everyone's super hungry. So Odysseus is like, I am going to fix this. I'm going to go on a spirit quest to pray to the gods to lift the storm so we can GTFO. And he heads off across the island to find somewhere with better spiritual vibes. He finds one, and then he claims the gods made him fall asleep, but I think he was just happy to be alone, away from all the starving men, and like not in a cave that stinks like a crew of men who haven't left it for a month. But hey, I wasn't there. What do I know? Anyway, he falls asleep. Meanwhile, back at the cave, the ringleader of the rebellion is like, guys, we should just kill the cattle and beg for forgiveness later. We can build the sun god a giant temple filled with treasure when we get back. I'm sure it's fine. He'll totally forgive us. Besides, I just can't do this anymore. If we're gonna die, I'd rather be murdered by a god at sea than slowly starve in a cave. Anyone with me? They were all with him. So they head off, find the best of the sun god's cattle, and kill them and slice and dice them. I maybe would have picked not the best ones, but hey, again, I'm not a mythical man on a sea quest. So they try their best to like mollify the gods a bit. They make a sacrifice, give to the gods first to try to get out ahead of this wrath. Then they get to barbecuing. Odysseus comes back, and as soon as he smells the barbecue, he's like, OMG, guys, there was literally one rule. And the guys are like, calm down, have a kebab. You'll feel better. Meanwhile, one of the nymphs who guards the cattle runs off to snitch to her dad, the sun god, and he is big mad. He tells Zeus that if Zeus doesn't punish these men and good, he's just going to take the actual sun away and move down to Hades, so the gods and the mortals are in darkness and the dead people get all the light. And Zeus is like, OMG, no, please don't. I'll kill them all. Just please keep the sun. I can't skip tanning. This gold skin doesn't just happen, you know. To show he's for real, Zeus starts sending the bad boy barbecuer some creepy omens. He makes the cattle skins twitch and the chunks of meat, both like raw and cooked, start mooing, and then the sound of ghost cattle lowing fills the cave. The men don't care and they just keep the party going. Personally, I'd be really freaked out, but again, I wasn't there. Maybe it just added to the atmosphere. Maybe it was just like a spooky themed barbecue. Finally, after 6 days of ghostly barbecue bonanza, Zeus calms the storm, and they all set sail once again. But as soon as they're out of sight of the island, Zeus sends down like this insane storm, and it snaps the mast. The mast goes right through the pilot's skull, and it smashes his bones across the deck, and then Zeus like rains lightning bolts down on them, and the ship breaks apart, and all the men are swept to their soggy but not hungry deaths. Odysseus manages to cling to the bottom half of the mast, and he manages to like tie it to the keel and sort of like MacGyver himself like a raft. He hangs on as he is swept by the crazy storm all the way back to Scylla and Charybdis. This time he's swept to Charybdis, the whirlpool monster, who sucks ships down and then spurts them out in a geyser. He manages to leap from the raft at the last possible moment. He like grabs onto the fig tree that hangs over the whirlpool, and he clings to it, hoping his little raft will get spat back out eventually. Thankfully, it does. And he leaps down onto it and then like frantically doggy paddles away before Charybdis can start like inhaling the whirlpool again. But to get away from Charybdis, he has to go towards Scylla. And you just know our spooky girl is ready for some more man meat. But for some reason, Zeus is like, I'm not done torturing this guy just yet. And he hides him from Scylla so she doesn't see him. And so Odysseus can like escape out to sea, where he then drifts for 10 days before the gods wash him up on Sex Goddess Island number 2, where he is found and then low-key kidnapped by Calypso. And that's where the chapter ends. And now we are all caught up to him arriving on Phaeacia. So what happens next? Will the Phaeacians' magical ships carry him safely home, full of treasure, to his smoke show of a wife, and hopefully no longer a sad son and dad? Will the suitors be like, oh, okay, you're back. All right, we'll go home. Welcome home. Thanks for letting us eat your food. Bye. Or will everything go horribly wrong again, leading Odysseus to make some very questionable decisions? Tune in next time to find out. See you guys here for chapter 13.